So again, good morning and welcome. It is so nice to see everybody again. Welcome to Happy New Year, welcome to 2020, the year of clear veggies. I'm sorry, vision. I'm reminded of the great teaching that as our practice deepens and as our spirituality matures, there are not new years and new days. Each morning is a brand new life, free of the past and unburdened by concerns of the future. It's just a brand new life today. Actually, T.S. Eliot had a really great quote on that when he said that last year's words belong to last year's language, and this year's words await another voice. So I want to talk today a little bit about, of course, New Year's and resolutions. But before I do that, many of you know that I was away over the holidays on a silent retreat. And so I always like to share with you my experiences on a silent retreat. Sometimes you guys have heard various different stories and things from me about insights that I have had about my practice, or sometimes the retreat is just a recommitting of my practice and kind of helps me get back to the roots. This practice, of course, was no different. There were insights and a strong recommitment to my practice. But another experience happened for me which was unique. I hadn't experienced this before in my retreats. And that was the experience of sort of I think the best way to call it is like a photographic negative. So in a photographic negative, it's a complete, it emphasizes and accents those things that are not normally emphasized or accented. So I'll give you an example. Normally for me on a retreat, there's kind of an emphasis on sitting on the cushion, on meditation. This retreat, there was still an emphasis on meditation, both sitting and walking, but the accent and the emphasis was a reverse. It was a negative. It was on the walking to the dining room. It was on the preparing the form in the morning or preparing the form in the evening for bed. It was all the things that were not on the cushion. The accent and the emphasis was overstated in those areas. So in that way, it was very unique for me. And in a way, it kind of brought home for me this idea that is spoken of in the Christian tradition when Jesus speaks about pray without ceasing. So it was almost like there was never a break in the meditation. It wasn't just, I can't wait to get to the cushion, or I can't wait to get off the cushion. It was just the whole thing was a meditation from start to finish. And so it really kind of helped to bring home that idea for me of as I said, that idea that Jesus spoke about in pray without ceasing. And so another way to look at it is that everything is practice. There isn't anything that's not practice. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, some of my experiences on the retreat. And of course, also thank you so much to Joe and all the folks, David, and everybody who came to really step up and help to make the service run smoothly and flow effortlessly. Again, thank you guys so much for that. So here we are with the new year, and with it the new year brings, of course, a sense of starting over and renewal and a clean slate. In fact, here it is only the 5th, and I've already vacuumed underneath my bed. I know, right? And I fixed that squeak in my car that's been there for the past 7 years. And I went and bought a new toothbrush. So I am totally ready for 2020. Bring it on. And of course, with all this reinvigorated energy, often comes what we all call resolutions. Yes, this year I will finally write that book, or I'm going to exercise more, or, what are the other resolutions? Spend more time with friends and family, or update my wardrobe, blah, 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 whatever all these resolutions are. But resolutions, of course, have gotten a bad rap over the years because they don't seem to work. They don't seem to stick. And that's why I kind of wanted to take today and kind of look underneath the hood of resolutions and kind of take a Buddhist approach to those things. So underneath the hood of these commitments to a new you is a subtle belief or a judgment that there is something wrong with this you. Can you sense that? There's a subtle judgment, a subtle belief that in some way you need to be better. In some way you need to add something to yourself. A judgment that there might be something wrong with this you, so I need to make a change. That you are somehow not good enough, that something must be added, taken away, whether that's pounds or some perceived defect. And don't misunderstand me, it's not that you shouldn't exercise more, or it's not that you shouldn't update your wardrobe, but again, it's not so much what we do, it's the quality of the doing. It is the subtle belief behind the action and the act that we're taking. So no matter how much we exercise, if there is a deep core belief underneath all of that, that you are not perfect exactly as you are, then no amount of exercise is going to change that. And that is why resolutions tend to fail or tend to kind of fizzle out. In the same way, it's not that you shouldn't write that book, but whatever is keeping you from writing it, hint, usually it's not that first excuse of time, material, or money. If you look deeper, or as my teacher would always say, go deeper, go deeper. Underneath that not writing of the book is some subtle fear that it won't be good enough, that no one will buy it, or that having written it, it won't bring me the happiness that I think it's going to bring me. So underneath those is a fear, is a judgment. So when we talk about this idea of non-attachment, and the Buddha is very clear in the choice of words, it's not so much about letting go, although that can be a practice, but it's not about letting go because that's another doing. It's more like just non-attachment. When we talk about this idea, this is what we're talking about. It's not so much material things in the world, although that can manifest and be a good signpost for you. It can become a very obvious thing that you've become attached to, but it's really more about these core, subtle, deep beliefs that operate underneath the radar that we are attached to. I have spoken in the past a little bit about, as some of you know, I like to write music, and I'm a singer-songwriter, and my first album, I recorded 9 songs, and the 10th song was completely recorded except for one track, and it took me 2 years to finish this one track. 2 years. I mean, the rest of the album was finished in like 6 months, but it took me 2 years to finish this last little tiny bit. And as I explored that and went deeper, what I discovered was that it was fear that was keeping me from finishing this, because what happens if nobody bought it? What happens if nobody liked it? What happens if somebody was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, it was okay, yeah. My whole identity, oh no, I'm not a singer-songwriter. That crush, that failure. So when you purify the fear, when you purified the wanting, the longing, the desire, when you purify fear, greed, hatred, and delusion, then you are able to move forward freely, untethered. It's liberation. As the old saying goes, a bird doesn't sing because it can, it sings because it has a song. I don't create music for people to like it, to sell albums. I create music because that's just what I do. You don't need a reason to write the book. You don't need a reason to exercise, to update your wardrobe. If you are moved in that direction and you check in and it's coming from a place of love and compassion, not just for them and the world out there, but for yourself, then you simply move forward and you just do the thing. You take the action. So this idea of not clinging to some core belief also includes clinging to ideas of good, bad, right, and wrong. Now, these core beliefs can be tricky to spot. They like to operate kind of underneath the radar. They like to create worldly, easy manifestations that we can blame. Oh, time. Oh, money. Oh, I don't know a good recording studio, or I don't know an editor. I can't get an editor. I mean, there's 1,000 reasons that the ego mind will generate, and none of those are it. That's not it. These core beliefs operate underneath, and so with a dedication to our practice, with a commitment to mindfulness, and I always like to add in a playful curiosity, then we can begin to go deeper. We can begin to explore the external manifestations, the external experiences, and the external perceptions about experiences to go in and find out, wow, what is this all about? So what I'm talking about is when we have an experience and we label, there's an emotion, and it's a bad emotion. Maybe it's loneliness or sadness or abandonment. Here it is, New Year's Eve, and I'm all alone. And it's not that these things don't hurt, they do. But it's just pain. That's a part of life. But the overlay of perception, in other words, everything we bring to the sadness, to the loneliness, to the experience, that overlay of, this shouldn't be happening, and why me, and everybody else is at a party, or whatever the experience is, whatever it is that is painful, if we can separate the pain from the suffering, then we can go deeper and can develop an understanding, and then it can be revealed for us what the core belief is around the experience that we're having. So they can be tricky because there's all these external shiny objects that we want to place the blame onto. So when we work with the practice, and we start to realize that there are no bad emotions, and we can begin to, with a playful curiosity, take a look at, for example, abandonment. My friends all went out of town, and my family didn't come into town for the holidays. So I'm alone. I feel abandoned. You can overlay all kinds of blame, judgment, stories, suffering on top of that. But what's really there underneath abandonment is the invitation from the practice to realize that the person you're abandoning is you. You are the one who have abandoned you. An opportunity and an invitation to find truth, to find yourself in all of this, to become comfortable with being with you. In the same way, anger, if you're angry about something has come up, anger is an invitation from the practice to go deeper. What is anger trying to help us understand? Anger is teaching us forgiveness. And it may be that we need to forgive ourselves. Teaching us compassion. Again, in the same way, take a look at, for example, when we feel powerless in a situation, this inability to control, something is spun, our perception is that it has spun out of control. And so there's this feeling of helplessness. This is painful, yes. But what is the underlying teaching? What is the practice inviting us to go deeper with? When we feel helpless, when we feel like there is something out of control, the teaching here is teaching us to release, to let go, to trust the universe. So often we feel that the universe is happening to us, when in truth the universe is happening for us. Every experience is an opportunity to learn. Every experience is an opportunity to go deeper. Every experience is an opportunity to practice. And look at how we are overlaying and blaming, judging, creating a story that involves external players, external things and places. It's not what happens to us, it's what happens in us. Our practice invites us to keep a clear mind and an open heart. At a retreat, someone went to Ram Dass and was telling him, I have all these friends, and some of them are excited about the future and the things that are coming. And other friends are like, everything's going to hell in a handbasket and all this stuff. What do you think about that, Ram Dass? What is your take on that? And he sat there and he thought about it. And his response was, I'm not sure that my thinking either way about the past or the future matters, because at the end of the day, all I need to do is to keep a clear mind and an open heart and do whatever it is that is mine to do in the next moment. And so our practice is a recommitment to the present moment, to sitting on the cushion, to meditation. Our practice is to recommit in every breath to our mindfulness practice, being aware of what is arising in this moment. What is the intention behind this thing that you're about to say? Our practice is a recommitment to playful curiosity, generating a love for life, a love for each moment and each experience as it occurs. And as we become aware of these core beliefs and we become aware of any grasping or diverting, we become aware. And awareness unties every knot we have. In the words of Lao Tzu, when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be.